welcome back to another episode of making suggestions to make the Apex maps a bit more competitively viable. In my opinion, all of my suggestions so far in the series have been my opinion. You can feel free to share your own in the comment section down below. Who knows? Maybe a dev will see it, think your idea is a good idea, and use it. Because I am posting these in the Creator Hub, and the devs have access to all of our content that we put in there as well. Well as the socials team, I believe, have access to our socials as well. We can see what we're posting and stuff. So, without further ado, let's get into this episode. More specifically, today we're going to be covering Broken Moon. I have a few things. It was kind of hard for me to think of things with Broken Moon because although we had it in competitive for a while, it's really hard for me to think of things that aren't just remove zip rails, because zip rails are a big issue of like Broken Moon, in my opinion, right? Like, you can get from one POI to another so fast because of a zip rail. It's unreal. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the series so far. It's been quite a good outlet for me to like get my brain thinking, oh, all right, what would I change? So I hope you guys have enjoyed it so far. If you have missed the other episodes, firstly, we did Storm Point in episode 1. Because it was the map that just like made me think, oh yeah, I want to do this, and then reach out to the devs and say, look, I want to do this for every single map. So that would be through the Creator Hub. Again, I reached out. That's why I've got a code that allows me, as you can see, to do this by myself. So yeah, if you missed that one, be sure to go back and check it out. There is a playlist with all of them in. So you've got Storm Point for episode 1, Olympus episode 2, Casey for episode 3, and now Broken Moon for episode 4. I think we're probably going to do E District for episode 5 and then leave World's Edge till last, since it is the longest running comp map, and there's clearly a reason for that, right? There's also some rumors. I don't know how true they are. I've not had them officially confirmed, haven't spoken to anybody, but apparently there are some rumors circulating that World's Edge might see some changes. So who knows what they might be. But I am very conscious of the time because, one, I don't want these videos to run too long. I'm conscious that the last one did go quite a while because I rambled on some of the sections, and now I'm conscious that I'm rambling here. So without further ado, let's get into it. We'll cover the couple of things that I want to cover. One of the things that I want to cover will probably just be we'll look at the map and I'll show you, if that makes sense. But I'll bring you back when we get in there. And remember, if you enjoyed the video, should I say, because you haven't watched it yet, so why would you have enjoyed it? If you enjoy the video, remember to leave a like and subscribe. And again, if you have any suggestions of your own, leave them in the comments. And yeah, I'll bring you back when we're in there. Alrighty then, we are in, and I'm already in the area that I want to see something done with. This area here, whilst yes, there's a bunch of rocks, trees and stuff to like, it is pretty it's a big issue sometimes playing, like trying to get through this area because of the fact that if there's somebody playing Terraformer, you get shot at. If there's somebody playing this building over here, you can get shot at. Depending on where you need to rotate, whether it's through them, you have to fight. The same with this building down here. What I'm proposing is maybe a little like no name similar to this up here, or that building over there here, and maybe even a bridge like the one that's over here, just to like maybe from, you know, get rid of this rock, or put, in fact no, put the bridge like here basically. Just boom. There's also one of those kind of bridges over here as well. Anybody who has played the map for an extended period of time, you know the bridges I'm talking about. You see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? That bridge there.
We should cruise over there.
That's what I'm suggesting. And then like I said, a building or two, just as a little bit of cover, some playable space that isn't a rock. And yeah. Basically a siegeable area. Okay. I was gonna say I'll bring you back when we get to the next spot, but the next spot is basically right over here. Is that an evac I just spotted? No. Okay. Our next spot that I would like a change is to do with hazmat, right? Hazmat tunnel. I guess the clue is in the name. It's a tunnel, right? It has an entrance and an exit. Well, guess what? It has one exit here, one exit here, and one exit here. The problem is there is no alternative exit on this side. So if you get stuck anywhere between this exit and this exit, and a team is pushing you from, like, let's say quarantine has pushed you into here, and so you're playing here, and then Terraformer comes in behind you, you are dead, right? You just can't survive. So what I'm proposing is some sort of like cave like this one, but on this side. Hell, it could even come out in this little like indent here, you know, here, if that makes sense. So just to make hazmat a bit more playable as a POI, but also make it harder for teams to just sit in there and bunker up with there we go, we wanted that, a caustic for example, right? And then our next area is actually this over here. Now I'm sure, almost 100% sure, that at some point in anybody's Apex playing experience, in your Apex career, if you want to call it that, I'm almost certain that everybody has died in this area. This whole like tunneled off area. I'm sure that you've done like the whole tunnel aspect, but it makes certain legends like Bangalore, Gibby, like alts just like useless. You can't use them, right? Which is fine. You need to be aware of that if you're playing those legends. But at the same time, you have the door.
Let's check that quadrant.
This choke, that choke, and then this whole area here, as well as this entire open, like almost open space to Terraformer. And honestly, I've seen Atmo Station come over and Cultivation come up, and they're like fighting here, and I've just sat up there with a charge rifle and killed them, because guess what? I can just shoot them for free. Because they're focused more on fighting each other than their angles. Which is, again, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be an angle. What I'm saying is this whole area is basically a kill box. And I don't know how they would change it, but in my opinion, it needs some form of a change. Whether it's a wall going along here, although with this road, it probably make more sense for the wall to go from here over there. Like, what I mean? It just, a lot of the time you feel like it's inevitable that you have to go through this area, and then as inevitable as that is, it's also inevitable that you're going to die in this area. So,
Wings out.
with that out of the way, let's move on to our next area. And we will use my Valcolt to get over there. And my next area is going to be Bionomics.
Alert 5, Valkyrie on standby, ready for
I'll
there.
bring you back when we're over there. Alrighty then. This is more specifically the area of Bionomics I want to cover. Firstly, I don't think we need a zip rail like from the back of Atmo Station. Go all the way to the back of okay, look, there's one long zip rail you can just literally take all the way to Bionomic, basically. Coming this way also gives you high ground. I think it needs to you need to be forcing them to walk. Same with this zip rail here. I think we need to maybe put it off somewhere. Again, I said at the beginning of the video, most of my criticisms of Broken Moon are the zip rails. So that's going to be the only time I really like mention it. But I would like to see this zip rail cut off at this house, basically, and then there maybe be another zip rail that goes this way, and then you could cut this one off and go up towards cave entrance, if you will. That would be what I would do personally. And then on Terraformer side, you could basically stop it at this as well. So there would be basically a zip rail that goes this way, no zip rail from in this area here, but then there would be a zip rail that comes down and goes maybe or even just stop at the entrance of the cave, like choke here. It's not really a cave, it's just a little bit of a choke, but you get my point. And then it could stop at this house, and that would force you to walk up here. And then this zip rail here could literally stop right where the buildings are. So like here somewhere. Yeah, there actually would be great, I think, in my opinion. But that's not what I wanted to cover in this area. What I want to cover in this area is that a lot of this area here is quite open and a little bit unplayable. And I've seen zones even in Pro League and Pro League scrims and champ and EWC scrims, EWC, like all manner of pro level competition when Broken Moon was in the rotation that ended around here. So I feel like we need maybe a couple more of these buildings just dotted around, maybe there. One, like, remove this tree here and just put it literally there, and incorporate the mountain into it if you have to. But literally just this whole area here is kind of open, if that makes sense. So when you try and rotate out of Atmo, you basically are forced to play behind one of these two rock pillars, like rock pillars here or here. If the zone is pulling, like, let's say here, right? You're basically screwed if you try and walk across. All the teams that are in this sort of area, if they're not shooting at each other, are shooting at you. And there's obviously going to be, if most of the time, there will be a team that's playing the other side of this wall here that is maybe playing a Rampart or a Newcastle because they're like, all right, we can play this area because we have those legends. And they are 100% looking at you because they have no reason to look at their back because the wall is stopping them from getting shot. That makes sense. All right, with that out of the way, let's move on to the next area, which I'm actually going to bring you back when we get over there. And this is going to be one of the buildings where I'm using the map to show you that I believe it needs to be moved. Alrighty then, we are here. What I want to suggest is that building in front of me
Let's check that
on my ping. Basically get moved further down this hill. I don't know, you could replace this tower thing that I'm stood on right now.
Wings up.
If they see fit. Maybe even if they want to, they could put another one of those buildings here. I just feel like this whole area is a bit of a dead space for Alpha Base, and I feel like that building being there encourages people. In fact, I've done it when Broken Moon first came out. I sat in that doorway with a charge rifle and just looked at people fighting here and charge rifled them until I got a kill, or was just like griefing the fight in general. So yeah, it's a bit of a weirdly placed building. I get, all right, well, these guys fighting here should have a an awareness of the fact that that building can shoot them. Okay, I get that, right? But again, I'm just trying to make them make the devs think, or anybody else, you guys as viewers, think about people who maybe don't think, like in ranked, for example. Like most ranked players, from my experience at least, don't think about like angles and stuff. Do you know what I mean? They play the game like it's pub, but with ranked points, and you know, it's basically what it is at the moment. So hopefully that gets changed, but who knows. So what I'm trying to say is maybe move this building further down. We could even have one of these buildings that the zip rail connects to placed here if needs be. But if that's going to be done, I would feel like this zip rail needs changing as well from Alpha Base. Maybe put, in fact, what I would say is maybe move this building a little bit closer here, and so it's on like a kind of an angle, so that then the zip rail can go up here, and then you put that build, like another one of those buildings right here, and get rid of this building completely. Then it kills both things with one stone like this. The zip rail gives this more like playability, if you will. That tower thing can stay there. There's another building here that replaces this building, but that building there will not, because obviously, well, it will, but it will have very little angles to this building, depending on how they place it, right? So yeah, that was one of the buildings I was saying maybe we should move it a little bit further down. And then the other one is this one over by experimental labs. I feel like they need to move this building and put it more so where, like, the other side of the Evo, make it a bit more usable for experimental labs. 'Cause sometimes it can be an issue, if you will, that like your teammate is looting over here, you looted here, another teammate's looted here, and either Foundry has pushed up and come here, or Underpass is pushed through, and then you have to just run over to your teammate. And let's be real, most of the time they've died. So I don't know what for certain they could do with this one. Maybe turn it so that these areas here are facing this direction and this door is like there. I don't know. That's up to them. I just feel like that needs moving a little bit closer to experimental labs to make it more part of the UI. And now we're going to move on to, in fact, let me cancel that. Now we're going to move on to our last section, which will be a spaceport. Right, firstly, I would like to just cover this back section of core here. Often it can feel pretty useless. It is the UAV beacon for core, so unless you're playing a Sparrow or a Crypto, sometimes you will just say, yeah, fuck it, we're going, like we're leaving. We'll scan a cliffside, for example, right? Like, so I feel like maybe either moving this UAV so that it's on top of one of this, like either this building or one of them buildings over there. Pretty sure the console in core spawns here, so you could even put it on like this little building, one of these little buildings on the outer edge. Maybe not a good idea to put it on that one, considering that the cave could probably shoot them, like from the tunnel, you know, like Dry Gulch. I don't know. I'm not sure about the angle there, but pretty sure it would probably be possible. So it'd be a danger to do that. But there is another one of those buildings on the other side here, which quarantine zone can't shoot because there is this big, like rocky area in front of them. But one of the things that I want to see is the entrance to, like, bring this zip rail back around here. Don't connect it to this one. Bring it back around here. Like when Breaker Wharf was over here, we had one of them buildings that I've said, like, we should move. We had one of them here, and then the zip rail came around and then went all the way over to this one, right? Do people remember that? But what I'm saying is we have a zip rail that just basically comes around to here. Give this back area here a bit more use, because at the moment, let's say core does come over here and scans with a Valkyrie, for example, and then they see that Spaceport, instead of fighting Dry Gulch, decided they're going to come play the other side of this cave. Well, they're just going to sit here. And then Spaceport has two choices. Fight Dry Gulch, who are either now pushed up behind them in Spaceport, or have, like, taken the bridge, or fight Core. Spaceport is honestly probably the worst map, worst POI on this map. Like, Underpass is pretty bad, but there's options, what you want to do, depending on what you have. Same with solar pods, options depending on what you have, but you do have to be careful of foundry and cultivation, and obviously Underpass has to be careful of production yard and experimental labs and Dry Gulch. But yeah, the whole, like, Spaceport POI as a whole is basically just chalked. Like, okay, my jets are running out really fast. A little bit of movement there for you. But yeah, like, you don't have the most amount of loot. Okay, like, you have basically 3 buildings and then a bunch of pills. And yeah, okay, the pills is a fairly decent amount of them, right? Like, this, you can already see there's 7 in this area alone, right? But some of the places you would expect there to be pills, i.e. on this platform here or on this platform here, there isn't any. And sometimes it can cause a loot disparity between you and Dry Gulch. And your only choice realistically is to loot really quick and then push Dry Gulch and take over their big building as fast as you can. And hope and pray that they haven't done the same thing and just looted, you know, this part of the POI and then pushed over and held that big building. But yeah, that is my thing for Spaceport. It is honestly, for the fact that it has 3 arsenals as well, sometimes you can get really unlucky. Like, I would personally consider this, in the current meta at least, to be unlucky, right? And it does have a close arsenal in the light arsenal over there, and the you know, arsenal there, but we've already covered that if core comes over, scans, and then is like, oh, well, these guys are just playing for this light arsenal, let's stop them, then they can. Like, it's almost impossible for Spaceport to do, like, anything. So, I don't know what they could do. I like Spaceport over Breaker Wharf, but honestly, like, is not enough of an area, right? Like, maybe if they did incorporate what I suggested, like when Broken Wharf was over here, put something here, be able to rotate around the back. Maybe that makes it a bit more viable, makes it a bit more, like, imagine, right? You know what? We're gonna fly around, because I'm pretty sure I can do it as Valk. I'm not 100% sure, but we're gonna try it. Right, anyway, what I'm saying is, because I'm not gonna be able to do this while I'm flying, what I'm saying is basically put a zip rail that goes around this way, right, where I'm following a similar route to what I'm flying. Obviously I'm going to be flying really high, but you could put this zip rail that's in front of me right now, you could have it go over there instead, right? So watch what I'm saying. Like, why are there two gravity things there as well? Like, it makes no sense. So think about if there was a zip rail that went all the way around here, and then the zip rail ended there. Like, if their core team is playing here and they have one guy on this building watching this zip rail, the chances are you're still dead, right? Because this area is open. But if you play it smart, you could potentially get to the wall and then fight them, and it's a bit more manageable than going through this cave choke, which honestly you could just have one guy here checking for when they come through, one guy on the building, and then this guy sat back here, especially if there's a sniper arsenal like there is now. Bro, I'll just sit back here with a charge rifle, and if you try and peek my teammate that's here, like, you know what? Let me just grab a charge rifle and I'll show you. Alright? Because it gives me a 6x anyway. If you try and peek my teammate that's playing up here, from here, and let's say it's a Wraith that's over there, I'm going to charge rifle the fuck out of you, and then my teammate can just queue back. Or if I do actually, like, headshot you and make you one shot, or I down one of you, then he can push, this guy can push, because it's a 2v2, and I'm just flying over, or running over if I'm, like, I don't know, Crypto or someone. And then, boom, we get into the fight and you die. Like, do you know what I mean? That makes sense. So yeah, that is my rant about Spaceport being, like, bad over. And we've covered everything in this video now. We've covered the building, the two buildings that I wanted to say, oh yeah, we should move them, which is that one and this one. We actually came up with a different, past recording the video, came up with a different option for this. So I'm pretty excited to see if they do anything with that, if any devs do watch it. We covered this area. Again, most of my criticisms with Broken Moon are about the zip rails. I said in the original Broken Moon, not this one, the original one, that they should have gotten rid of Promenade, which they did. They should have moved Terraformer into the middle, which obviously they didn't, but let's say it was in the middle. They should have zip rails like these ones all the way around it, in obviously with it being in the middle. And then the zip rail should just go off from, like, Terraformer. Like, this was basically my idea was that Terraformer replaced where Cliffside is and this rock here, and it basically one, and Breaker Wharf wouldn't be there. It would have been the old backup Atmo, and Breaker Wharf would have been over here, right? So what I was saying is, off of that Terraformer POI being in the middle, that there should be a zip rail that went to Breaker, or a zip rail that went to breaker over here, even the old Atmo, backup Atmo, Bionomics, and over to Foundry. But it should just be one zip rail that basically went. So the one to Bionomics, let's say Terraformer was here, and yeah, this exit here was here. The one to Bionomics would basically go from this exit over, and then follow this one. Not Bionomics, the Foundry. And then the one for all Bionomics actually would go from probably about here, over, boom, end. Right? And then I'd get rid of all the other rails on the map. So you couldn't like rotate from Breaker Wolf to Eternal, like obviously it's backup Atmo back then, into Eternal Gardens with a zip rail, because there was a zip rail that came up and into backup Atmo as well. Right? It was just more. It was just this POI with this building here, and these two here, these two here. Like people who remember the old Broken Moon will remember it. So that was my idea, and again, most of my issues with Broken Moon personally come from zip rails. I don't think zip rails serve comp in any way. Like it serves, well, actually no, I'll rephrase that. It serves it in a rotate fast kind of way, but the problem with that is people can also use the rotate fast to rotate into fights fast, and then it just turns the whole map into a kill fest, and nobody's trying to play like the map as competitively as it should be. And that's why Broken Moon for me, like the new Olympus, sort of teeters on the edge of, is it actually viable for ranked and competitive or not? I mean, it teeters. In theory, this is one of the bigger maps in the game, with alongside Storm Point and World's Edge. And I believe E District might be about the same size. So in theory, this should be a great comp, right? Because it's big, more space, more playable area. There's more likelihood that there's going to be a building in where the zones pull, because there's more area to cover, right? That makes sense. But unfortunately, when we had it in comp and in the BLGS, in BLGS, it was the best out of the maps given, like that weren't already comp maps, which were obviously Broken Moon. We played BLGS 3 and 4. For BLGS 2, they played Olympus. I didn't play that one because I was in Portugal. My team at the time got a sub. My current teammate, actually, Ciolu, so who I've played with in the past as well. And then what's it called? BLGS 1, we played Kings Canyon. Like Broken Moon was the right choice at that time to put on for 2 BLGSs. In my opinion, because at the time it was the most competitively viable. Olympus now for me would be the one to put on for 2, because they have changed it enough to make it a bit more competitively viable, but it's still not right where it needs to be, in my opinion, which is why I made the suggestions I made in episode 2. So go and check that out if you haven't already, as I said in the intro. But yeah, we are done with my rant about Broken Moon. Again, most of my personal gripes are about the zip rails and how they're placed and how they work. Like, for example, right? Let's just put it this way. From Atmo Station, if you really want to, you can go from here all the way to the other side of Terraformer. Like, obviously, it would be quicker for you to just go this way. But, humor me, if there's people fighting in Bionomics, and then after you've fought in Bionomics, people fighting in Divide, let's say Terraformer goes to Bionomics, and then in the time you go from Atmo over to Bionomics, and then finish off that fight, then Eternal Gardens comes over and fights Divide, then you can just zip rail down to Eternal Gardens, zip rail down to Divide, and fight them there. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you barely have to be off of a zip rail to get from the same with like terraform around to like realistically, you are off of the zip rail in between like the entrance to Foundry on the 3 buildings, and then you can literally zip rail these 2 buildings as well. You can literally zip rail all the way to Quarantine. Like, yes, there's a zip rail around Quarantine. Hell, if you just cross this cave choke here, you can zip rail all the way to Dry Gulch. Like, some of the zip rails to me it's wild how long they are. But also equally, this one right here is pretty fucking useless. You know what I mean? So who knows? I would like to see them change zip rails somehow. I don't know how they would do it. But again, rant over. I'm gonna let you guys get on with whatever it is you have to do after this video. And thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope it hasn't been too rambly for you. I do realize I did ramble a bit at the end, ranting about the zip rails because they really annoy me. But yeah, we won't get back onto it. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you have, leave a like. Remember to subscribe. And if you have any suggestions for map changes yourself, try and be as descriptive as possible. Because if a dev decides to read the comments and they, maybe want to implement your suggestion, it's a bit hard for them if you just say, change Eternal Gardens. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you want to see changed? Make the suggestions again in the description, in the comments. And don't forget, if you haven't already, check out the other episodes in the series. Again, we did, as I said in the intro, we did Storm Point first, then Olympus, then KC. Now we've done Broken Moon. We're going to do E-District, and then finally we're going to cover World's Edge last. Again, because it's the longest running comp map, and there is rumours that it is going to get changed. No confirmations, but it's just rumours at the time of recording this video. So hope you guys have enjoyed, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.